has, Lord knows families has, and Lord knows businesses have. The only people that hasn't tightened their belt has been the federal government. And I don't think we're going to be able to make the argument for significant new investments, as important as they are in human capital, until we can first demonstrate that the federal government can actually cut back some of its programs and get more efficient in terms of how it spends. Again, I don't want to keep coming back to your own personal story, but we didn't go to the people of Virginia and say we had a structural deficit when I was governor until we had cut first. Lord knows you all applaud me today. You all burnt me in effigy when I shut down the DMVs one day a week. But until you're willing to show that you can cut, and we've not done that at the federal level. And I believe, and one of the things I'm going to be, I will, again, equal opportunity offender. I'll make a lot of folks in my party mad, but we have to cut back federal spending. We have to bring that same kind of level of scrutiny and accountability that does not exist for too many programs at the federal level. And I hope to be part of it. And then if we can make that case, I think we can then make the case to make it clear. But we can't do it first. Yes?
James Sneed, Pennsylvania County. Look forward to your visit every time you come down.
Thank you, sir.
My question is, do you think there will ever be a time that we will have funded mandates from the federal government? I know you don't want this question. I think I talked about it before. What
are you smoking?
I know I've talked to you about this before, but we've had some unfunded mandates in Pennsylvania County that we're working on right now that's very expensive. And I'll be in your office again, probably talking to you about helping with that funding. But do you think in the future that there will be, federal government will kind of lighten up on local?
Well, again, let's be fully fair, because on one hand, you're right, federal government and state government oftentimes will put forward a mandate that sounds good when you're in the halls of Congress or in the General Assembly, and then you get stuck with the bill. But there are also a lot of times, whether it's federal or state, where there's a whole lot of funding programs that might not help you pay for that bill, but help you pay for something else. And we've even passed at the federal level requirements that say no more unfunded mandates. It doesn't really work that way. But I think what we just need is, I think about again on the questions around the Bay. I'm all for making sure we move aggressively to clean up the Bay, but simply passing down those costs to local government isn't the right way to do it. So it's a good, fair question, and it's one we just need to keep scrutiny on. It's one of the reasons why you all need to come see me as this because you're going to spot stuff and see an unfunded mandate a lot sooner than some legislative staff person in the halls of Congress.
Thank you.
Can I get one more?
You want to take one more?
Yeah, listen, come on. This is much more fun than my normal job. You can tell what's different. If I was still governor, he would have never done that. I think you're looking for, what federal grant are you looking for? I'm going to take one or two more questions and I'll get out of your hair.
Good morning, Ann Ballard from Albemarle County, and I would like to suggest there's a small gap that we can fix. There's a lot of pent-up demand of government projects. We're trying to build a library that is planned and ready and will stimulate our local economy with our builders and also refocus other business attention on our downtown community. But what we're facing is the missing ability to pay back the loan right away. So some bricks and mortar project that would be included in the stimulus would help our locality tremendously. And also, one more thing, is the bricks and mortar side for infrastructure in agriculture. We've been trying for about 15 years to get processing plant facilities in Central Virginia for our small farmers. And when you're like me and have 20 cows, the 90 miles one way to the processing plant really puts a crimp in your ability to participate in the local food movement. So, two other items for you.
Let me only give you moderate hope on that. Most of this, the dollars that would have flown through to the libraries were dollars that basically have already gone to the state. To my knowledge, there's not, everybody keeps thinking, when am I going to get my personal stimulus check, or when am I? There was not a whole lot of new programmatic areas created by the stimulus. Again, it was political malpractice how badly explained this legislation was to the American people. And the administration paid the price for that because people were rightfully pretty pissed off. Excuse my technical Washington term. You know, and in terms of the ag stuff, there are some additional ag dollars out there, but you ought to, I think what you should not assume is that there's going to be any more federal stimulus dollars. This is basically done. We've shot our bullets. You know, I don't even think you will see, I think you will not even see major extensions of unemployment beyond 99 weeks, because frankly, beyond 99 weeks, and I've got a lot of sympathy for folks in Martinsville and Henry County. I don't have as much folks in Fairfax on those kind of unemployment numbers. You know, at some point, if we keep extending it, you basically recreate a welfare program. So we're going to have to say, again, we're going to have some tough love in this thing and a little more rational business approach. And one of the things and I'll close with this, I will turn the reins back over, unless, Bob, you want to come up, because you let me have another question. You're the next president, so you know. But, you know, one of the things that came out of this last election that I actually think will be good is that, you know, over the last 2 years, the Democrats have had the ability to jam stuff through. And the Republicans have had the luxury of just saying no. And, you know, and there have been things, again, that make me so much miss Richmond, so much miss all of you. You know, the amount of grief that some of my Republican colleagues got for, like, working with me, Bob Corker from Tennessee, working with me on financial reform, or Lindsey Graham got on working on energy and stuff. You know, it was crazy. But now, both parties are going to have to own the problems and own the solutions. You know, and that's good. And that's good. And what I just hope and pray, and you know, I mean this with all my heart, because, you know, we're kind of at an inflection point in our country. You know, there's 1 billion people and 1 billion people, 1 billion people in China and 1 billion people in India that aren't going to wait for us to get our political act together. They're marching forward. Well, there's 250 million people in Brazil, of all places, that after 30, 40 years of kind of being a mess, have got their act together and are moving forward. Even Russia has had greater GDP growth in the last 3 years than America. So we don't have, perhaps in most of our adult lives, we had the luxury that the rest of the world had to wait on us to get our act. They're not waiting on us anymore. And, you know, and I fundamentally believe, you know, we sometimes get overwrought saying, oh my gosh, we'll never get out of this. You know, just remember, it was only 20 years ago when the same things were being said. Big deficits, a country that was going to eat our lunch, then it was Japan. You know, now it's China. 20 years ago, our country, Democrats, Republicans came together. We got our act together. We moved from a deficit to a surplus. Through innovation and growth, mostly in telecom, crazy things like the internet, America led the world. You know, it's that time again. We got to step up again. And, you know, never ever sell the innovation and creativity of the American people short. But what we've got to have from our political leadership, and I put myself in this category and all of you, is a willingness for this moment in time to chuck our Democrat hats and our Republican hats at the door and put on our American hats. That will get the country back. And at the bottom line, you will be part of that solution. I look forward to working with you. Thank you for having me here. Please help me back. Thank you. It's in much better than a Jefferson cup.
Oh, yeah. I've got you the Smithfield ham, of course. I've already sent pork to Richmond. Now it's time to send some pork to Washington. Thank you. We will have a short break and then we'll get back together. Thank you.